Who is the best chess player in the world? Magnus Carlsen. Green, blue, red. Can you see these arrows shown on the board? Magnus Carlsen plays this dynamic Queens Gambit Declined option from the black side. What is this video all about? You're going to see how he plays, and then I'm going to show you so many different setups so then you can use it in your own games as well. The Queens Gambit Declined is one of the best ways to play with black. Let me show you everything that I've come up with for this openings video. Here we go. So how do we get this position? D4, D5, C4, E6. This is for my chess students as well. You want a sensible way to play with black, and now knight C3, you can play the normal move, knight F6, bishop E7, or you can play A6. This is also called the Janowski variation, but Magnus has really brought this back into fashion a few years ago. Right, so here I'm going to show you so many different responses. Here we go. Knight C3, A6. Can you see the green arrows? They are not actually the best responses. The blue arrow I'll show you towards the end of the video. Middle towards the end. Knight F3. Why is this setup so good? Because it's so easy for white to play not the best move, if they are not familiar. So knight F3 means we can now take. How can I make this pawn to A6 move useful? Because no matter what white plays, you can now defend, and that's the point. You see that blue arrow where the knight goes to A5? I'm going to show you that later. Now in this position, white is already a pawn down, but he does have the center, so one critical way for white to play will be to attack the pawn chain. But then you attack the knight. It moves back here. The reason it doesn't go there, so then this bishop can't attack it. So it might go back to its home square. It's okay, because if it's white's move now, you take. But you attack the e4 pawn instead. But then you see, black is still a pawn up. And then we want to get rid of that bishop, because white's bishop is better. So that's one option. If we go back a few moves here, you attack the center, queen c2. Now you can take on c4. I really like this move, c5, striking in the center. It's very unusual to have this cluster of pawns, but it's okay to undouble your pawns. Take, queen c4. And in this position, black has a really good position. Everything is defended. The knights will defend each other. The rook will actually come to c8, which is an arrow I should have drawn. Then there will be a discovered attack on the queen. And can you see the bishops are in the game? This is actually a really good position, and one reason is white center has disappeared, but the white queen is on a bad square. Next chapter. Here we go again. We keep going from the beginning because that's how opening videos work. Then we go through lots of variations. You can always go back to a chapter in the comments. E3 is another move. That's normal. Later I'm going to show you if the bishop comes out to f4 a bit too early here, and then we're actually going to take and then play this really cool move. I'll show you that very weird setup later. In the intro, do you remember I showed you the three arrows, green, blue, red? Here, very similar. We're waiting for white to waste a move, and then we might take on c4. So here, keep playing normal moves, knight f6, but here, knight d7. I really like this choice. The green circles is if white might be wasting a move here. b3, b6, very normal way to play. Here, then here, here, here. And then the game goes on. However, I want to show you if white makes a small error. Take. What's the point? Because now you put the bishop on d6. And now you can castle. We've got attacking chances for black. Rook e8, coming soon. Knight e4. Then you see the red arrow, that is one creative option. The queen can actually swing over. You might even want to put the rook here so then it over defends c7. That is one option. Or you keep the rook here because later the queen might keep attacking a6. So let's go back a bit. So that's one option if white plays this normal move. Here, I want to show you if white goes wrong a little bit. Maybe it's a bit harsh for me to do this, but as a Queen's Gambit accepted player, this is a normal idea. Dynamic option. Take, because they've wasted a move, and now hit. And then hit. Bishop b7, c5, coming soon. e4, you can go c5 now. And then, well, black has a good position. Next chapter. d4, d5, c4, e6. Here we go. Same thing. And now those were the two moves. Now I'll show you the critical one, which is if they take in the center. Because when you're playing a top player, maybe they're going to take on d5 and then try to punish you. It's like you're being punished by playing this waste of a pawn move. But guess what? The point of this video I'm showing you is not a wasted move. take. Knight f3. And now the bishop can come out to either square. I don't mind. If bishop f4, the cool thing is bishop d6. Now we're making this move useful. You see, it's guarded. They might come off, it's still useful. You see, rook here is not useful anymore because the pawn on a6 is guarding. So that's one option. Let's go back. Now they might play the more critical option, which is to pin you here. But can you see this pawn on d5? It needs defending, so you go bishop to e6. This is very important. The knight cannot go to g5 to attack your bishop on e6. e3 is a normal move. Just want to show you if queen b3, hitting the pawn. You don't want to play a move like b6. You probably don't want to go b5 because they might attack you, attack your pawn structure. I don't like how weak this might be. Here's a cool moment. You give it up. That's why I really like this dynamic option. You've got the bishop in the game, and guess what? Even though white is using queen b3 to attack b7, you ignore it. It's a bit generous of me to give double exclamation mark, but just want to show you a cool idea. Now, white can just continue normally. Here, castle. But guess what? I'm showing you this line because if they take. Small mistake? Yeah, I guess so. We're going to sacrifice 2 pawns. And now our pieces are active. You see this pawn, who cares? That white is up an extra pawn. They might defend it. As you can see, it's just too far away from queening square. Bishop out. We're going to castle. And now if white plays a wrong move, which, can you see this move looks normal? You just want to get your pieces back in the game. That's a bad move. c5. c4, almost trapping the queen, and then big trouble. Take, total blunder. Knight c5. Our pieces in the game. Queen a5 coming soon, which I'll show you now. All the pieces are so active. That's a terrible move. Hit, you win the rook. If we go back here, what's another option? They play this, then queen a5 is cool. Then you go c4 and you win the knight. That's the cool thing. And also, you're just running out of squares, really. You are just running out of squares. If you play castle, which is a terrible move, c4, you hit the queen, it goes back and you take. So, can you see how white's position collapses a bit? If they play this early queen move, hit the pawn, and we play this really cool move, knight d7, they can't take the pawn. Good. What was another option here? e3. Pawn to e3 here. Knight d7, defend. Normal move. If you're one of my chess students, you play the knight off. Knight d7, defend your knights. Bishop d6. That's the cool thing. Remember these 2 bishops looking at each other, you could say. In the center. Good. We don't need to play this move because the bishop, can you see, it's like we're always trying to find a way to make this pawn move useful because the knight can't come to b5. That is really one important thing of the Magnus Carlsen Queen's Gambit. Let's have a look. We have I'm 8 minutes in. I need to hurry up. Queen c2. Queen and bishop line up against here. And now c6. Just over defending. And I've got lots of arrows. Let me explain. The green arrows, all the squares, defend the central pawns. Swing the queen over to c7 and b8. Get out of the red diagonal. And this is looking good. If you're playing a top player, that is actually one of the best moves, to deliberately retreat. You see, if they don't retreat, then you go queen b8. I already like this. Here, just getting space, or you might just castle. You see, you're off the pin, and this is actually quite a nice way to set up. However, you might be playing someone who is aware of this line. They retreat the bishop. Don't take. Looks a bit difficult, really. f5. I don't love the fact that the bishop is trapped. Even though here you can go for this, but I don't love it, really. So, no, I'm not recommending this. Queen b8. Hit the bishop. You might retreat. You might take, you see. And then the queen is actually very well placed in the center. You might even go bishop here to attack. Good. Just want to show you one option. If they retreat, you can take if you want. You might even go g6, or you just keep it solid, really. Maybe castle for a move, or g6. I don't mind. Queen here, and then black is pretty safe. g6 to blunt this bishop. You might go c5, or you might just keep the pawns like this. I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with black's position. Just want to show you a trap here. a3. Yeah, don't fall for this. You can't just castle into checkmate. Oops. And if knight takes, that's mate. So do not fall for this trap. So here, how do we stop this trap? Just go g6. You could even castle queenside. Nah, g6 is good. Okay, next chapter. Let's have a look. How many chapters I got? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more chapters, and that is a good setup for you. Here we go. A critical line is if they take, and then they go queen b3 now. You see the green options. We've discussed them. So now, queen b3. Attack. Knight f6, bishop g5. You need to defend. And they might blow open the center. So this was brand new for me. It even looks a bit scary. I don't know if what I've chosen is correct, but, well, tough. I can't get everything right, but also I'm learning as well. They blow open the center. I want you to defend. Queen e7. So it's like we are up. We're up a pawn. They stop us with b5 because, you see, black is almost winning here. If you play a normal move, b5, that actually traps the bishop. That is so funny. So here, white needs to play this, and we can't do that because take. Rooks face each other. So if we go back a move, we can kick their bishop away. We can even play bishop f5. One option is to play this really weird move, h6. Very dynamic option. Yes, let's go for it. Take, take, and now f5. What's the point of this? Bishop g7 castle. The knight can slowly get in the game. You see this bishop? Couple options. You can put it on here to trade, or it actually sits on c8 for a long time. Bishop g7, and now castle. Cool rerouting idea, thanks to Stockfish. The knight can actually sit there. Dynamic pawn structure. We're up a pawn. Yeah, and slowly, you see, slowly find a way to get this knight in the game. How about this? 1, 2, let me put that in blue. Different idea. 1, 2, 3. That's actually a cool option. Dynamic moves. Put the queen on g5. The knight. Well, I've just said this. 1, 2, 3. Blue. Good. Next chapter. Are we almost done? Yes. All right, this was the early moment, one of the very early chapters. Let's have a look. We're 11 minutes in, almost done. Here we go. This was a small mistake. If they go bishop f4, because maybe your opponent plays the Queen's Gambit, but they love this bishop f4 option, they can't. That's the cool thing, where we're actually cutting a few options out. In order for white to get something, they need to take early. But that option, maybe a lot of people don't know. That's why it's cool. Go for it. You see, I'm teaching myself. I'm preparing this for my chess student, but I'm also learning. You see, I'm slowly convincing myself to play this as black. Take. Now, if we go e3, we've seen this before in the first chapter, b5. Bishop b7, we can go b4, something like this, b4. And here's a cool move, bishop b7. You see, you can't take because you lose on g2. That's cool. That's a really cool tempo option. And so this is good for black. And you can strike. Look out for this strike. That's coming next. Then black is fine. Let's go back a few moves. So what's the point of this? They go a4. And I want you to hit the center. But guess what? It's not about hitting the center. It's about putting our knight offside. I'm going to be generous again. Going to give it double exclamation because it's so weird. Once you remember this, then you think, it's just normal. Let's keep our pawn. Why does this work? Because white can't do this, you see. That pawn is on a4. En passant is possible, but guess what? That bishop controls b4 as well. Bishop b4, why not? And here's a cool moment here. Because those two are split. I mean, well, they're split in this fashion. You can attack both at the same time. Good. We're going to lose the London bishop. Take back. The pressure is still there. It's like you want that bishop back here to defend, but you can't. And if you don't defend that, then your position collapses a bit. So white might defend with rook, but now, guess what? You don't take the knight. No way. No way, because now white has a great center, and this bishop is still alive. No way. You take the bishop. You split up their pawn structure, and then you can come back. Castle. I don't mind. Yeah, you can castle first and then come back to take. Really, the pawns are split. This is actually really good for black. Next chapter. I think 1 or 2 more, that's it. How many more? Come on. 2 more. Give me 2 more minutes. Here we go. So now a little bit different. We're waiting. Defend. That's what I said before. And now take. And now here. And c5. So one option. You see, if they take, you're fine. You are fine. So if white doesn't play the critical lines, you're fine. You get a good position. You have a chance to play better than your opponent. That's what chess is. d5 and now bishop e7. Oh, sorry. You get rid of the pawn. And here you see that knight is quite strong. Attack it. Oops. Attack it with bishop b7. They're not going to retreat or else they're wasting time. They might take, and here take back with the queen. Now we're good. So much central control. You can see from the blue arrows. Bishop can come out. I don't really mind here. And then you're ready to castle. Put a rook on d8 later. We're good. One more chapter. Come on. Am I almost done? Yes. One more. Final chapter is, well, they might go Catalan. So maybe now we don't go a6 anymore. So just a little bit different. One reason is white it can be really fast with Well, they're going to get to kingside safety now. So here we throw in this check. This check looks a bit strange. If this is brand new to you, that's fine. You're learning. Good. That's why you're still watching. Check. And then retreat. See the bishop on d2. It's a little bit misplaced. That's a good thing. Drop it back. There we go. Bishop back to e7. Good. And now c6. Like this. c6 defend in a solid way. And I'm suggesting that move. And this is nothing new, guys. This is nothing new because I've suggested the knights to defend in this type of structures. It's just I haven't used a6. That's okay. In this kind of position, it's a bit different. I want the knights to defend each other, as you can see from the blue arrows. And then here, if they play knight c3 now, we can take. Very similar to what we saw before. They might get the center, you go b5. Dynamic way to play, a bit different from before because that pawn is not there. e5, knight d5. The knight might come here. Can you see that square might need to be guarded? So h6 is possible. And then you can see the ideas on the right. Green, blue, red, a6, bishop b7, c5. We try to free our position. We're good. Now, if we go back a few moves here, maybe they go bishop f4. That's a normal move. So then the queen still defends. Now I want b6. And here we go. This is the final moment, and then I will let you go. Thank you so much for watching up to here. b6. What's the point? Look at the green arrow. We're going to bishop to a6 to put pressure here. This knight, can you see it's so important? Yellow arrow, I'm going to make it green. So if the knight ever comes in, you can take, and then you can actually reroute the other knight to go back. So you've sorted that problem out. The blue arrow, we might free our position with pawn to c5. Pawn breaks are good, and then rook to c8. Nice, healthy way to play against the Catalan. Good. And I believe that is everything. Good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Here we go. My normal way to end these videos. I haven't put the new videos at the top. Doesn't matter. I can't control everything. So, just 2 recommendations today. Top left corner will be the previous video. Master It London System Chess Opening 6 Ways to Dominate. I released this yesterday. So this is another black opening video. That will be in the top left corner. And then you know what? In the top right corner, it'll be the Carlsen. Yes, because that's another black opening video. That's why you're still watching. And then bottom left corner will be the top video on my channel, how to play the Catalan. But before you go, let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Did you learn a lot from this? How to play with the Queens Gambit Declined from the black side. Thank you so much for watching.